Hello, everybody. Today is day 4 of the Life Transform Journey, and this is Jacqueline with Vibrational Energy Solutions. Yesterday, we tapped into stories and about my personal story of feeling abandoned and where that lone wolfing wound started. And today, I wanted to look at a couple other sides of that very interesting story. So when I was taking care of my dad, while he was on in-home hospice, he had congestive heart failure. And the one thing that, there's all kinds of amazing memories that I have sharing that time with him. And I loved him so very much. A couple of my favorites. He used to call me Morning Glory. He'd sing to me, You Are My Sunshine. He'd sing all kinds of fun little tunes. And my dad was a really, really great guy. A lot of people loved my dad. And I remember this one day, though, the social worker came to visit. And Jody was talking to my dad, and he said something about, I was just kind of not really, listening because I wanted them to have their space, but I think, doing dishes in the kitchen. And all of a sudden I heard my dad say, yep, and Barbara, she always knew how to put those kids in their place. He goes, I remember one time she even threw one of those kids out of the car, and and all of a sudden my mouth just kind of dropped. And I went over the little wall and I said, Dad, that was me, Dad. I was only 6 years old. He goes, well, you deserved it. And I just paused and I was like, I deserved it. How many of you can relate to having an adult authority figure, or an authority figure that you are just so enamored with tell you something and have you take it to heart? And distortion of thinking, because we're all living from our own unique perspective of what our life experience has been. But I was just kind of taken aback because I didn't even know that he knew the story. I didn't even know he knew the story. And I don't know that he knew it was me. But in that moment, he found out. Because I looked at him and I'm like, Dad, that wasn't okay. And Jody looked at me and she said, that must have been very frightening and painful. And I'm like, yeah, it was. I said, and I'm still working on that. And so I'm only bringing this up to you because our reference point for how we create the survival program, that default mode network that's operating, the ego under the shadows that just is trying to maintain control in order to keep you safe. It's not that it's trying to hurt you. It's not that it's trying to make your life miserable. Yet sometimes it does a really great job of it. But it's trying to keep you safe. So we get to thank that part of us. And we get to thank everybody that brought up a trigger for us. And it's not that there was any reason for it, but we grew from it. Because everybody has their own reference point. Everybody has their own challenges that they've overcome in their lives. And you get to be healthy and take responsibility for cleaning up those triggers. Because when we operate from triggers, our life is pretty self-destructive. I was having a conversation with my business partner, my very dear friend, Jacqueline Ortiz, and we were visiting about how those triggers are so powerful. And when we allow the default mode of who we have grown to become operate the show, we just get pulled in the undertow, and it doesn't serve anybody. So she's like, I always called it self-sabotage, but I was saying it is self-destruction. And it's like, for me, it had to get to the point of almost totally destructing everything. My mission, my vision of what I'm here to create in the world, which is to help 1 million people to awaken and guide them home to their heart. It's a powerful mission. So it doesn't surprise me that I got to the point where, like, I just totally needed to bring all of this stuff up and out, and to allow you to feel with me, feel that experience, because it's not something that's unique to me. It's unique to me, but it's not, because we all have stories. We all have default mode networks. We all have egos that are trying to take control and manipulate our lives. And it's that part of our personality that really just wanted to keep us safe. And when we were children, we really needed the help of that ego, so we get to say thank you. But we also get to reprogram that part of us. And so the job that I've given my ego is to help me to know whenever I'm not present in my life, when I've gotten off course, when I've gotten triggered, because I still get triggered sometimes. And I get to help see myself so that I know that I have left my soul's yearning, my mission, my vision, and I've fell into the ego's trap. So if the ego wants to play with me in my life, my ego gets to support me in my life and to help me create a thriving mode of operating instead of survival. So if you want to join me, keep on listening along, because we're going to go through all kinds of beautiful insights. We're only on day 4. I know you got to hear a little bit of my stories the first few days. And although, we all have stories, and I know that I needed to bring some of my own, what looked like reality, into the picture. And really, it's that wounded part of us that just wants, it's seeking the validation, approval, love outside of us, when really we have to be source of it. We have to create it within ourselves. And we can't have any expectation for anybody to come in and save us. That is our job. That is our unique job, is to be the healthy, loving adult for ourselves. And for me, my dad, he would always say, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. And I always just kind of giggled at him. But there is an aspect of me that's so playful and joyful and childlike, and being the youngest of 6, me stepping into being a woman and taking responsibility and creating my life, it's taken a really, really almost point of self-destruction to get me to choose. So, but I'm happy. I felt so free after I shared yesterday's message with you. It just felt so freeing to be that vulnerable and that honest. And I jumped in the swimming pool after I shared that little message with you, and I just started feeling like this immense space of relief and joy flow through me. And we get to be joyful. We get to choose being joyful. And we get to choose being extraordinarily ourselves, authentically, 100%. And we're blessed to create our extraordinary life. however that looks for you, however that looks for me. And I'm taking it one day at a time right now. So I'm happy you're here with me on this journey. Much love to you, many blessings, and looking forward to visiting more. Bye.